Hello. So the topic is epistaxis, and the point of discussion is investigation related to epistaxis. So when you have a case of epistaxis, depending upon whether it is mild or moderate to severe, we do the investigation. So I'll give you two scenarios. One where there's a mild bleed and the child, they bring the child to the casualty for the first time, mild nasal bleed in children. So the first time bleed and the mild bleed, we examine the child, whatever is necessary we do it, and the child does not need any particular investigation. The second one, the same child presents to the casualty, comes to the OPD saying that in the past 2-3 months they give a history of recurrent nasal bleed. And sometimes it's spontaneous. He's sleeping in the bed and next day morning they wash that pillow, it's covered with blood. So here we start the investigation. Likewise, in the adult, whether it is hypertensive, especially so in non-hypertensive, we would like to know the cause of the bleed. So we have to investigate. Now, the investigation, for that we need two consultations. From the patient, they come to us, to the ENT surgeon, and if the patient is a child, we would like to give a pediatrician, consult a pediatrician. In case of an adult, we will consult a physician, and if needed, a cardiologist also. Now, there is a second level. The third level, the third tier, we may need a help of the hematologist also. The investigation, it goes like a tier, like each level upwards. So the basic investigation, what we ENT surgeons do, I will tell you. So as soon as the patient comes to us, we would like to do hemoglobin and PCV. At the same time, we like to do a coagulation profile, which includes bleeding time, clotting time, and prothrombin time, activated partial thromboplastin time, and partial prothrombin time, which will include INR also. And platelet count, of course it comes in the basic investigation. This basic investigation will be done by the ENT surgeon, by us. Suppose this investigation, it comes normal and the bleeding goes on, or the child comes again or the adult comes back again to us saying that there is bleed and we are not getting a cause to it. We would like to refer the child to a pediatrician or a physician, and what they will do, they will do another blood, they will add up other investigations, like they want to do liver function test also, liver function test and peripheral smear Now, when these, and of course renal function test. Now, what happens is, suppose these parameters are also normal, so the child will go to the next level of investigation, and we have to consult the hematologist. The hematologist, they would like to do serum fibrinogen, fibrin breakdown products, euglobulin lysis time, plasminogen level, von Willebrand factor antigen, and functional von Willebrand factor antigen. And suppose the platelet count is normal, but the structure is not normal, we have to assay for the live platelet function, and the last being hemoelectrophoresis. All these investigation will be done by the hematologist, and if it turns out to be a hematological cause, they would like to treat it also. Now, at the same time, there is one more scenario where the child, patient happens to be a child, happens to be a boy of age between 12 to 14, say 12 to 16. Here we would like to rule out a condition called juvenile angiofibroma. So to come to a diagnosis, we would like to do a CT scan with contrast along with angiography plus or minus MRI scan. That will help us. So these are the common investigations which are done, and as I have mentioned, all this investigation will be done at 3 different levels and with 3 different consultations. Now, let us go to part 3 video, where first we will deal with general management of the patient. Please do watch. Thank you so much.